Welcome back. Our next speaker is Ivan Dundovic. He is data architect at Kroz. He has more than 7 years of experience and was involved in various data projects, building complex data architectures from the ground up. As a proof of his expertise, Ivan gained Apache Spark developer and Confluent Kafka developer certifications. Projects he is involved in are mostly in telco and finance sectors. In his presentation, he will aim to shed a light on the concept of treating data as a product and how it can transform the way we handle and derive value from data. He will highlight the importance of data as a strategic asset and discuss key principles such as data governance, quality management, data contract, and data monetization. The stage is yours.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. And thank you, everyone, for attending my talk. I hope you will enjoy it. So, as you heard, I will try to explain a bit what data as a product means and how you can start your journey on treating your data as a product. So, you all heard in the last at least 10 years how data is new oil, how data is new gold, etc. We are all well aware of it. But the question is, did we extract value from the data? Because if we don't extract value from our data, then it's not very valuable to us. So in a traditional data management approach, just to remind ourselves on how data is generated and how we treat that data, let's take a look at a simple approach and one that is very familiar to all of us. So on the left side, we have our users, our customers, whether it's a bank, for example, or a telco or whatever industry. Every industry and every company has its customers. And these customers are using some operational systems and some applications that we are building. And these applications have their operational databases in which we store data. So this is the first place where data is generated and where data is collected. Of course, this is just a simple example. In more advanced examples, that is very common today, we will have some more APIs, server-generated data, files, etc. But in any case, we will have data stored in some first point in our systems. And then after that, usually that data is transferred to a data warehouse or data lake or any other system for data analysis. Users of that analytical systems are data analysts, data scientists, BI developers, maybe some business users. That depends on the case. So there's nothing new on this slide, right? But what I want to emphasize is where in this pipeline, let's call it, we start taking care of our data. And usually, that is the data warehouse or similar data system in our pipeline. And Kroz, so a company where I work, we provide professional services, we provide consulting services for many customers. And most of our customers have this approach. And all of them are facing the same problems. They have bad data quality, they have bad data governance, if any governance is implemented. They're struggling with data teams delivering data faster. And what I think is that introducing data lake in this picture, introducing data lakehouse or anything, might help solve some specific technical problems that we are facing. But in the end, what I believe is that tools are fine, but we need a different approach. And data as a product is one approach that I will explain today that could solve some of these issues. As I mentioned at the beginning, data is definitely a valuable asset. But what we really need to think about is, why are we collecting that data in the first place? Why are we analyzing that data? And who is this data for? And we should always put customer in the center. And in regular software development, when I say software development, I think on application development that we saw on the left side. Product management is one discipline that has been used for many years now. And data product management focuses on the product and the product lifecycle and its customers. Why are we not doing that in data? So we are collecting data, we are generating data, throwing it with shovels in some data analytics database, and then all of those data quality problems, etc., now it's up to a data department, let them handle that. And then customers, so users of that data analytics systems, when data is bad, when data is not in the right shape and form, it's always data team to blame. Why shouldn't we shift that left to the domain teams that are developing applications that produce data and try to solve these problems in a much faster and more efficient way? So this is a motivation for to introduce data product and data as a product way of thinking, introduce product thinking, and introduce product management into the data world, since we saw that in application development, in software development, it has produced very good results. Now, I believe that a lot of you heard about the term data mesh. I don't want to put it into a central place in this presentation, but I just think it's important to mention it because it is data mesh that basically brought importance of data as a product. So data mesh is a term that was introduced by Zhamak Dehghani in 2019. And the idea is to decentralize data management, so to federate it to the domain teams that are producing that data and that are developing applications that take care of this data. And here, as you can see on the slide, the only thing that I bolded is overloaded central data team. And I believe that there are many data engineers here and that many times you feel overloaded. So with this, I hope that you will at least feel better in a way that you will see that there is a solution that can help you to not be overloaded. Data mesh is not architecture, it's not a product, it's not a tool. It is, as Zhamak says, socio-technological approach that can help us to do data management in federated and decentralized way. And it consists of 4 principles: domain ownership, data as a product, self-serve data platform, and federated computational governance. I just wanted to give this short introduction into data mesh, but in the remainder of the presentation, I will focus on data as a product principle. If you will search online, you will find a lot of materials about data mesh and about data as a product. On the implementation side, you will not see that much because it is very new. And we have a couple of customers that we are working with on either data as a mesh, but sometimes we are working specifically on treating data as a product and some other terms that are related to data as a product. But what I wanted to tell you is, and give a big shout out to datamesharchitecture.com, because that team is doing great work, and there is a bunch of really good materials on data mesh and data as a product. So feel free to take a look there. So what actually is data as a product? If you will Google for, or ask ChatGPT, because that's a new thing now, what is data as a product, you will probably stumble upon many articles that explain what is data as a product and what is data products. So just to spend a couple of seconds on that. data product is, for example, one application like a navigation app that uses data for its purpose to deliver some value to the customer. But data as a product is more of an approach, the way of thinking, and introducing product management and product thinking into our data. And that is a really big difference, because we can develop data products, but not use all of these data as a product things that I will explain today. Of course, there is a lot of overlap, but those are two distinct things. And when we say data as a product, we usually mean traditional data management, but with product thinking introduced. Again, what we need to remind ourselves is our customers should come first. And let's think of our customers. So when we look from the data team perspective, customers are these data analysts, data scientists, and other users that are using data. And then we need to ask ourselves, do we deliver value to these users? If we are constantly delivering data that is of bad quality, are our customers happy? Probably not. And why is that? Well, you know that classical blame game, it's not up to us, it's up to them, etc. Why not skip that and just shift the ownership and responsibility to the domain teams, shorten the feedback loop, and then in the end, if data quality and similar responsibilities are up to domain teams, then it will be their goal and imperative to deliver good quality data, because then they will need to take care of that because of KPIs, etc. If we will go into these things. And data teams can then focus on their jobs, and that will be based on the certain use case that they will need to do. But not all load will be on data teams. So this is the first important thing, and that is we need to define these domains. We need to find these teams. And from the microservice architectures that have been introduced many years ago, we did the same thing there. So we have domain teams, they are developing some microservices, etc. They're also many times using this product thinking for their software development, etc. So if you already did that part, then it will be much easier for you, because then you will need to introduce data engineers and some other things, and these teams can start delivering data products, treating data as a product. If you don't have that already, then first thing would be to discover domains in your organization. Okay, that was on a high level and more on a business and on an organization side. And I really like to emphasize these things as much as possible, because from my experience and very, very different projects that I've been involved in and many different types of customers, it really usually comes down to, okay, if you have some specific technical problem, great, let's solve that. But usually there is a bunch of organizational process, business things that needs to be taken into consideration before jumping into any technical solution. And with these things, we can solve many problems before we go into technical and make our life easier in the end. But now, starting with a bit more technical stuff, how would that data product look like? So, okay, we have the main teams, and now they will deliver some data products. Data product will have, I'm not sure if this is that, no, pointer. Anyway, so on the left side, we have input ports. What is that? So any data pipeline that we do has some input and some output data. So input data could be data coming from some APIs, from databases, regular stuff. Then we do a bunch of data transformation and whatever inside of it, and then we produce some outputs. So nothing new here. What is new? New are the things that I mentioned earlier: product thinking, product management, and domain teams taking care of the data. But what we need to take into consideration is how this data product will be used. So a new team that needs to use some data, they need to have a way to discover that data product. And that's why this discovery part, this metadata layer, and now we are stepping into data governance part of the story. There needs to be a standardized way, a platform, a tool, something that you will use to enable your users to easily discover data products, and then use these data products to deliver their own data products, etc. So one data product can use data directly from the applications, from source systems, but some data product can combine either some source systems or some different data products, etc. And that way create new products. Inside of the data product, except for the data storage and transformation code and tests and documentation and everything that you usually do, really important thing here is ownership and product lifecycle. We really need to have ownership on our data and our data products. It is a really tricky thing, especially in some nations and cultures where ownership can't be on one person. It's more of like everyone is owner of everything, etc. But they will need to find a way to deal with that. In our Balkans and neighboring regions, that shouldn't be a problem. We like to have ownership, not responsibility. That's a different thing. Unfortunately, here you will need to take responsibility as well. And one thing that I would like to mention as well is observability. Observability is really key because once you deliver your data product, you need to constantly monitor it and see how it is performing, because in the end, your data users will definitely want you to deliver high-quality data product. If you go into a theory of what Zamax says, then these are the things that she says are characteristics of data product. But these are all pretty much self-explanatory. What, in essence, you want to do is you want to make it discoverable. You want data product to deliver value. You want it to be secure, and you want it to be interoperable, so it's easy to combine different products and different departments. Really important part of treating data as a product are these interfaces between different data products and different domain teams. Because one domain team can develop and use many different data products within their domain. And that is pretty much straightforward thing, because it is one team and they will find a way how to cooperate. But in a bigger organizations, there will inevitably be different parts of organizations, different domain teams that will need to collaborate. So these interfaces are very important. And these interfaces are not only on the API level. Now, when we are talking about interfaces between teams, between domains, we need to think of SLAs and similar things, maybe even costs, because this is very popular method now. Okay, you can use my data, but you will pay for that. That is a really good trick that business uses to find financing for introducing new technologies, etc. To help on establishing these SLAs, interfaces, data quality metrics, etc., there is a mechanism called data contract that I will shortly describe in the few slides. And I would like to point out on this open data contract standard that is based on PayPal's data contract template that they are using. So feel free to take a look at it. There's a bunch of great materials there as well. So we have many different personas, many different stakeholders, etc., that need to use data, and they are also stakeholders for the data contract. So if you look at this blue box in the center, these are some of the things that I already mentioned, and that would contain a data contract template. That would be contained in the data contract template. If you, again, Google or talk with ChatGPT, you will find some technical implementations. But technical implementations of data contract are usually focusing on schema validation. And that's pretty much it. And that is a really important part of data contract, because you want your data to conform to some schema, but that is not enough. Really important part of data contract are all these business rules, like SLAs and security, etc. Pricing, not to forget that. And data quality is definitely something that is not standardized in data contract. And depending on your use case, you will find a way how to deal with this. On the data mesh architecture side that I mentioned, you will find a lot of very useful materials. One is data product design canvas template that you can use. I believe this is for Miro. And that can help you to plan and design your data products. And now, if you take a look at one that is already filled in, so what we can find here is we can find description of the data product, in which domain it belongs, what does this data product deliver, some use cases that it is used for, what are the consumers, some language to describe some of the business terms that we are using, etc. But if you look at this central part, so input ports, then data product design, meaning data transformations, etc., and then output ports. If you just look at these three things, it's nothing new. So it's regular data engineering job that we are doing. But what data as a product really is, it's not about these technical things. It's more of introducing data product thinking, domain teams, and all this data contract and similar methodologies, approaches, etc., that focuses on delivering high-quality data products. So I really recommend you to take a look at these things, because it's really, really useful to help you start on your data as a product journey. OK. Now we've seen how traditionally data management was done, and what data as a product proposes. We mentioned data contract as one really important part of data as a product. And I told a couple of times in this presentation that technology is pretty much fine. What we really need to focus on are all this business, organizational, process stuff, etc. And as part of data mesh, Zamac also introduces a couple of new roles. So domain data product owner, domain data product developer, and self-serve data platform product owner. So definitely we need to start thinking about data as soon as possible in domain teams, applying data product thinking. And that's why, for example, domain data product owner is introduced. And that could be a role that product owner that already is in this data domain, domain team can use, can implement. And as the conclusion to my presentation in this final slide, I wanted to give you some steps that you can take to start your data as a product journey. So first of all, shift left and distribute ownership to domain teams. There are many useful methodologies, mechanisms that you can use to discover domains, etc. One of them is event storming. Make data discoverable and well documented. In this central part of data product design canvas that I showed, there was a big query on slide as domain storage. I intentionally didn't mention any technology so far because many different teams can use many different tools to solve their job. And that will always stay the same. And we heard in many presentations in this conference that the right tools should be used for the right job. So different teams will use different tools. What you need to focus on are these interfaces and platforms that everyone will use. And here we are talking about self-serve data platforms that can be, for example, in cloud or similar, that will help your teams to start delivering fast. Data governance needs to be standardized and applied across the entire organization. APIs and some standards needs to be introduced. But when it comes to the specific data engineering job, leave it to the teams to decide what's best to use for them. Customer-first approach, definitely. Product thinking, I mentioned it many times. I'm not expert in product management, but there are people that do that in our and every organization. Focus on that and apply it to your data. And in the end, data stack will come naturally. Of course, all of this, data mesh, data as a product, all of these things are new. And there is no one single tool that can help you with that. But if you start by first discovering what you really need and on a business level, what are the use cases that you want to implement and how you envision that, then in the end, you will take a look at tools, do some assessments, and you will find tools that are available on the market or develop on your own that will help you on that journey. And with that, I will conclude my presentation, and this is my LinkedIn if you want to connect or catch me during the break. And I hope you enjoy the presentation. Do you have any question? No. Okay, yeah, there is one question. In the back.
Hi, thanks for the presentation. If you shift everything left to product teams, how do you ensure you still have like one source of truth for your company-wise metrics? Yeah. Wouldn't that be lost?
It could be lost, but there are also some people that think today that multiple versions of truth are not something to be afraid of, something that we should maybe even embrace and use to help faster deliver value. So I think it depends on the case. In some cases, we want to have single source of truth, but then after that, we can, from that single source of truth, deliver multiple sources of truth, and that way we don't stop delivering value, and at the same time, we still have data under control.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.